click that next button. Don't even think about clicking on a different podcast, because That is Effin' Weird is here to bring you a wealth of knowledge today.
Hello and welcome back to That Is Effin' Weird. It's another great day to talk about some odd and creepy things. Well, we're actually going to be talking about some folklore for December, but we are going to kind of steer away from the typical stuff that you may encounter. We're going to be talking about some American folklore. I know during the Christmas time, people like to hear about Krampus and some other ones. But you know what? I feel like that's so saturated that I'm going to come to you with some different ones, some American ones. This is coming from the countryadventures.net. But before we get into that, I am Stevenson Longbotom. I am your host for today. And just so everyone is aware, we're only going to be sending out 2 episodes this month just because everything is pretty crazy and busy and everything. So we do have a lot in store for 2026. Just keep your eyes open for that. If you want to see, again, kind of what is coming up, I do post updates on our Podbean website, which is our hub is for the show. And I have a bulletin board where I constantly update it every about 2-3 weeks, just so everyone can stay informed. With that being said, let's get into some American folklore. Let's keep things kind of weird for today. So the first one that we're going to be talking about is the vanishing hitchhiker. When I first saw it, I always see the haunted or those scary videos on YouTube. I'm addicted to those. I think those are so good. A good one is Nuke's Top 5. I will say it's kind of gone downhill if you ask me personally. I mean, I know he's been on for a long time, but he had some funny videos now, and I liked when it was more serious. But nevertheless, I feel like I see a lot of those people driving on the highway, and then just something is there. So this vanishing hitchhiker one, I feel like is kind of reminiscent of that. Although this is a little bit different. It's not just people seeing people on the highway. There's actually a story behind it. The story typically involves a driver who picks up a hitchhiker, often a young woman in distress. As the journey progresses, the hitchhiker mysteriously disappears from the vehicle, leaving the driver bewildered. Sometimes the driver later learns that the hitchhiker was a ghost or someone who had died tragically on that very stretch of road. In some versions of the tale, the driver finds a personal item left behind by the hitchhiker, adding a chilling touch of realism to the story. This legend taps into the universal fear of the unknown and the eerie possibility that the dead might still walk among us. It's a story that has been retold countless times, each version adding its own local flavor and details. Now, again, kind of like what I had said, I feel like there's a lot of kind of variance to this. I would like to hear if anyone out there has a story kind of like this. Oh, and I can sincerely apologize. There was actually a news article that I wanted to get to before this. Tragic, actually. I hate to start the show and kind of do the show on a bad note, but this one just kind of hit differently when I saw it, and you can have your own opinions about this, but what the article read was pageant queen receives a life sentence for fatally beating boyfriend's toddler in her college dorm room, breaks down in court. Her name is Trinity Poyeg. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the last name right, but I read part of the article, and not to get into too much detail, but long story short, I guess the boyfriend left this woman in the dorm room. This was back in 2024. She was arrested, but she was 18 at the time. She was in her boyfriend's dorm room, and I guess the boyfriend had this child with another woman. I guess this woman was jealous, I guess that was the prosecutor's speech, was that she was jealous that her boyfriend had already a child and she wanted her own. And apparently there's a bunch of crying from the room. That's what people were saying. And then it just stopped. Now, it doesn't get into details like what actually happened. I don't know if more will come out. I just kind of skimmed this at, wave tops again for this, but this is very tragic when we hear things like this. And I don't know, I felt like compelled to like broadcast this in a way. I don't know why, but and I know it's not a huge podcast, not a lot of people will hear it, but again, I think there's a special place in hell for people like this. Now, I'm not saying, harass the woman or anything like that, but I have no idea why or like how someone could hurt a child like that. That's so fucked up. Her name is, again, Trinity Poyag. If you want to read more about it, go for it, but fuck this woman, right? Anyways, we'll get back into the folklore. God, sorry. I don't mean to start and do the podcast dirty like that and have a bummer kind of start to it. But anyways, we will continue on the folklore trail. So we have the legend of Sleepy Hollow. This one's a classic. The legend goes that the Sleepy Hollow is perhaps one of the most famous American ghost stories. Set in the Dutch settlement of Tarrytown, New York, the story revolves around the superstitious schoolteacher Ichabod Crane and his encounter with the terrifying headless horseman. According to the legend, the horseman is the ghost of a Hessian soldier who lost his head to a cannonball during the Revolutionary War and now rides in search of it. Ichabod's fateful ride through the dark, haunted woods of Sleepy Hollow has become an iconic image of American folklore. The story blend of humor, romance, and horror has captivated readers for generations. Vivid descriptions and masterful storytelling bring the eerie atmosphere of Sleepy Hollow to life, making it a staple of Halloween lore. Now, again, I haven't read this. I know for most people, I feel like they kind of hit this one in school as far as reading it. I don't ever remember reading it. I remember I'm pretty sure there's a Goosebumps. Let me see if there's a Goosebumps. I swear as a kid, I saw something kind of like this. Goosebumps. Let's see here. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, or is it Jack-o'-lantern story? Yeah. But again, I swear as a kid, there was something on the line. I swear I was watching, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Goosebumps, something on the lines of that. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Tale of the Midnight Ride. Okay, that might be what I'm thinking of. Ian arrives in the legendary Sleepy Hollow town where he meets a new girlfriend, the tough guy, and the notorious headless horseman. Interesting. So this had to have been what I saw as a kid. Had to have been. So I'm going to say that. Anyways, that was probably my first exposure to it, was the Nickelodeon show, Are You Afraid of the Dark? But I know there's been a bunch of adaptations of this. But again, I'm not really too familiar with the whole story, the whole ins and outs of it. But again, according to the legend, the horseman is a ghost who lost his head to a cannonball in the Revolutionary War. Pretty interesting stuff right there. All right, the next one we got is the Bell Witch of Tennessee. Now, when I first saw this one too, the first thing that came to my mind was the movie The Blair Witch Project. And I was wondering if the director had any inspiration from the Bell Witch of Tennessee. And I need to pull up the article. Okay, so I'm getting conflicting information. Okay, so the Tennessee witch, known as the Bell Witch, is a legend from the 19th century around the Bell family in Robertson County, Tennessee. This story was inspired, or has inspired, the Blair Witch Project, which is based on the Bell Witch legend. The Blair Witch Project was inspired by an eerie experience by the Bell family, which included supernatural events and the haunting of their home. The Bell Witch story has been adapted into various forms of media, including films and television shows, further solidifying its influence in American folklore. Now, I had heard or I'd read somewhere that the actual director, yes and no to that. Again, this is from wikipedia.com, but I swear I read something where it wasn't directly inspired. The director didn't get the story directly from there, but there was something else. I'm trying to find it, but apparently I can't. It went away, but nevertheless, we'll read a little bit more about it. So in the early 1900s, the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee began to experience a series of bizarre and terrifying events. The haunting started with strange noises and escalated to physical attacks on the family. The entity known as the Bell Witch seemed to have particular vendetta against John Bell, the family patriarch. According to the legend, the Bell Witch could speak, and she often engaged in conversations with the family and visitors. Her malevolent presence caused widespread fear and fascination, drawing curious onlookers from far and wide. The haunting reportedly continued for several years, only ceasing when the death of John Bell which many attributed to the witch's curse. The Bell Witch Cave, located on the former Bell property, is said to be the epicenter of the haunting. Visitors to the cave have reported hearing disembodied voices, seeing strange lights, and feeling an oppressive presence. The site has become a popular destination for paranormal enthusiasts eager to experience the legend firsthand. Now, okay, this kind of goes with any real haunting or scary places, anything of the sort. Even like ghost hunting in general, I feel like there's a certain level of heightened awareness, or you're overstimulating your senses in a way where you think you're seeing and think and hearing things. It'd be really interesting to have paranormal investigators go to places that some are, some aren't, and just kind of do investigations to really see if there is anything. Now, I'm not saying that they're all fake by any means. I love a good ghost story and aliens and all that good stuff, but what I'm getting at is I feel like more often than not, because shit, like even in my house when we first moved in, we'd always hear like a creaking, not a creaking, but like a crack noise, and for the longest time did not know what it was, and it would just happen like randomly, right? And it almost sounded like someone was like throwing a rock at the house. Had something to do with the piping and everything. So again, I'm not discrediting everything, but I feel like when people go to things like this where there's a legend and there's, all this lore and mystery behind it, I feel like people sometimes see things and hear things that really aren't or can be explained away. I spent all last month during the cryptid stuff just totally shitting on cryptids and just kind of being like, nah, you didn't see what you saw, and kind of just discrediting it and everything. And that's not my objective by any means. I am just trying to say that there's maybe a possible explanation to what you're seeing and hearing. Because even when we had talked about earlier in the month with just like animal sounds, holy shit, just animal sounds in general, some of them are crazy and that I've never heard before. Big one that I had talked about is the iconic eagle screech. Eagles don't sound like that. It's actually a hawk. If you don't believe me, look it up. So it's just one of those things. But now again, I'm not discrediting that this is not a haunted place or anything, but I'm not going to say not be open to it, but try to explain what you're seeing and hearing. If you go to places like this, it's always good to have a good non-believer with you or someone who can explain it away. Because again, I'm one of those guys where, again, if you say you saw an alien, I'm going to eat that shit up and I'm going to be like, yeah, you saw an alien. But nevertheless, we will keep the train moving. We've talked about this one plenty, the Mothman of Point Pleasant. If this is your first time to the show and this is your first episode listening to, we've talked about the Mothman plenty of times. Even during the cryptid month, we had mentioned them a couple of times, and then we have a whole episode dedicated on this elusive creature. So the Smithsonian describes the Mothman as a mysterious creature that was reportedly sighted in Point Pleasant, West Virginia during the 1960s. Described as a large humanoid with glowing red eyes and wings, the Mothman is said to have terrorized the town residents. The sightings accumulated in the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge in 1967, which some believers was a warning or a harbinger of doom from the creature. Eyewitness accounts of the Mothman vary, but most describe a terrifying encounter with a creature that defies explanation. Origins range from extraterrestrial beings to government experiments gone wrong. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the legend of the Mothman has persisted, fueled by books, movies, and a dedicated annual festival in Point Pleasant. That's actually something that's really cool about Point Pleasant, is that they actually have a festival. And if you go to this website, countryadventure.net, you can see the huge statue of this said creature. We have posted something on our Instagram feed, and it's not too far back in the story, so you can see it. You just got to scroll down a little bit of what this, I think it's a barred owl, I believe it is. It has red eyes. It looks like what people could have seen in the dark. There is that. I spent kind of a little bit of time kind of maybe saying what this creature may or may not be, but the interesting thing about it is the stories about this. Unsolved Mysteries does a really good episode, and they have those witnesses and their descriptions of this creature. I believe one of them, the creature actually came up to like the door. Like there was a woman was leaving either her brother's house or she was leaving her house. It was a house. She was leaving a house, right? Anyways, she was going outside to her car, and this creature was there, and she got scared, came back inside, and the creature came up to the door apparently and was like looking through the windows and everything. So again, I don't think an owl would necessarily do that. They're not like deer. Deer are pretty fucking stupid. Sorry if you like deer, but I grew up in the north, and you're gonna hit one at least once a year. Anyways, I just don't feel like an owl would come up to your porch or want to investigate the humans and what they're doing. I've never seen an owl kind of be friendly in that manner. Not saying that owls are not friendly. I think owls are like their seclusion. They don't hang out in packs. They don't, they just kind of hang out in trees, eat when they want to eat, shit when they want to shit. So I don't think it could have been an owl, although the description of the Mothman kind of fits the depiction of the barred owl. Anyways, the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant offers a collection of eyewitness accounts, artifacts, and memorabilia related to the legend. The town also hosts the Mothman Festival each year, attracting thousands of visitors who come to celebrate and explore the mystery. The Mothman has become an intricate part of Point Pleasant's identity, blending folklore with community spirit. I think that's great. I wish all communities around the U.S. and just, it doesn't even have to be the U.S. Just, I wish everyone had something in their town, kind of like this weird, eerie kind of folklore that they all celebrated. I know most towns have like their day. The town that I grew up in, it was during the summertime, but it was like whatever days, and it was just like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday of just kind of hanging out, celebrating the town. So it was pretty cool. I just wish more towns would do this. I'm gonna look up right now. Point Pleasant Festival. Mothman Festival, here we go. We got the mothmanfestival.com, September 21st and 22nd. That was of 2024. Mothman Festival 2026. It's looking like it's going to be September 19th and 20th. There's an actual app and everything. So the mothmanfestival.com, attractions and events, vendors, cosplay, live bands, guest speakers, TNT bus tour, Point Pleasant, Mothman Museum. Let's look at attractions. It almost looks like a little Comic-Con type thing going on. It looks pretty fun. It actually would be pretty fun to go to this, given the chance. And again, to just kind of go to that museum and just see the actual legends and everything. So, what is the Mothman Festival? The Mothman Festival is an annual gathering that commemorates the mysterious visit of the Mothman in the 60s. Great event for all ages. It's held annually in downtown Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and features live music, merchandise from various vendors, food trucks, cosplay, speakers, and of course you. The festival is located in Point Pleasant, right in the heart of Main Street, usually between 200 and 500 blocks. Okay, so the festival is held the third weekend of September. This year's official date, September 20th and 21st of 2025. It's looking like they don't have anything for 2026. There's a Mothman 5K. So it looks like there really is a lot of things to do here. And I think that's great for a small town, really capitalize on this. It again is it is sad because I do believe people died in the bridge that collapsed. So, but I think this is in a weird way to kind of honor them. And because, if you think about it, if you didn't have this event, people would probably forget about everything that had happened. So in a weird way, like, yes, you're having fun. It's a creepy creature, yada, yada. But you are in a way, you kind of are honoring those people that did pass and get hurt. So I'm all about it. I think it'd be fun. Hopefully at some point in my lifetime, I will get to venture over to West Virginia and partake in the festival. Anyways, we will continue with American folklore. The New Jersey Devil, or the Jersey Devil. Ancient Origins writes that the Jersey Devil is a legendary creature that is said to inhabit the pine barrens of New Jersey. According to the folklore, the creature was born to a woman named Mother Leds in 1735. As the story goes, Mother Leds, upon learning she was pregnant with her 13th child, cursed the unborn baby, declaring it would be the devil. On the night of its birth, the child transformed into a monstrous creature with hooves, a goat head, bat wings, and a forked tail. Sightings of the Jersey Devil have been reported for over 250 years, with the depictions varying but generally fitting the monstrous image. The creature is said to emit blood-curdling screams and has been blamed for livestock killings and other strange occurrences in pine barns. Despite numerous investigations, no conclusive evidence has ever been found to prove the existence of the Jersey Devil. Local legends often describe the Jersey Devil as a harbinger of disaster, appearing before tragic events or natural disasters. The creature has been spotted by residents, police officers, and even naval commanders, adding to its mystique. The pine barns remain a place of fear, with the Jersey Devil luring in its dense forest. That's really interesting. I always think there's always that level of credibility, and it just adds another layer of like, this is true. When you do have government officials or local officials, police officers, and even a naval commander saying that they saw this thing. Now, again, this thing has been going around for 250 years. The woman apparently, what did it say? Cursed the unborn baby, declaring it would be the devil. Can this creature live for longer than, the normal length? Because, I mean, if you look at it, because in my mind, I was thinking, all right, well, 250 years, yeah, okay. There's the thing that's probably long dead. However, if this thing is just a creature or a monster, who knows how long it could actually live for? What is the longest living? Let's see here. This is from wildlifeinform.com, the 10 longest living turtles on the planet. Let's see here. We got the Russian tortoise, 50 to 80 years, reaching up to 100 years old. Recorded age. So there's another one, the Pinta Island tortoise, 150 years. Got one, another 150. Greek tortoise, 160 years. The giant Galapagos land tortoise, living up to 175. Well, so long story short, the tortoises can live to be fucking old, right? That's what I'm getting at, is that the Jersey Devil, although 250 years is old, we do have creatures on Earth that can live well beyond 100, 150. So is it totally not possible that this thing is still kicking it? It's possible. It's possible. But the only thing is that it would be really, to me, I think this thing would just be like, it would need a wheelchair by this point. Someone helping it kind of move around. I don't know. This one is, I believe the movie is called VHS. It's great horror movies where it's a bunch of small horror flicks all in one. Great little movie. I believe it's on Netflix, Hulu. It's out there. If you haven't, if you don't know about it now, go check it out. Long story short, I do believe that there's a short horror either in the first or second one that is reminiscent of the Jersey Devil. Really good. Pretty graphic, kind of like maybe put on the same lines of like Saw, but not all of them are very grotesque and everything. Some of them are monsters, some of them are ghosts, some are just kind of scary, spooky. But if you are kind of squeamish, I'd maybe stay away from them. But nevertheless, we will continue. So we have the Phantom of Route 44. First thing, I wonder how much this one's actually going to be like the Vanishing Hitchhiker. Let's read into it. Route 44 in Massachusetts is said to be haunted by a ghostly hitchhiker. See, look, I didn't even know anything about it, and it's kind of already very reminiscent of the first story that we talked about, known as the Phantom of Route 44, as detailed by Spooky South Coast. Drivers traveling along the dark wooded stretch of road have reported seeing a man with red hair and a plaid shirt who appears suddenly on the side of the road. Some say he tries to hitch a ride, while others claim he simply stares into the vehicles with an unsettling grin. The Phantom is often described as having a malevolent presence, causing cars to stall or drivers to feel an overwhelming sense of dread. Those who have encountered him report that he vanishes without a trace, leaving them shaking and bewildered. The legend of Phantom of Route 44 has persisted for decades, with new sightings continuing to be reported. Local lore suggests that the Phantom of 44 is the spirit of a man who died in a car accident on that very road. His restless spirit is said to have haunted the area, seeking closure or simply reliving his final moments. The legend has made Route 44 a place of fear, drawing paranormal investigators and curious travelers alike. Now, again, this one is very similar to that first story that we talked about, was just the vanishing hitchhiker, which could be any stretch of road anywhere in the United States, where this one is very specific. Route 44 in Massachusetts. I'm going to look up the how long this stretch of road is. So Route 44 is a significant roadway that runs through Massachusetts, stretching approximately 38 miles. It connects various towns and is part of the larger Bridgewater Triangle, an area known for its paranormal activity and eerie legends. The road is particularly noted for its scenic beauty and historical significance, making it a popular route for both locals and visitors. The Phantom of Route 44, the historical context behind it. The development of Route 44 has a rich history, with plans for expressways replacement dating back to the 1930s. The US 44 Expressway has constructed to improve traffic flow and safety, particularly in the eastern part of Massachusetts. The project was completed in the mid-2000s and has since facilitated increased traffic, with estimates of up to 37,000 vehicles per day by 2015. I'm trying to figure out if there was something that went on that could possibly explain Route 44. You know what I mean? As far as like, okay, yeah, they say it was someone who was driving and then, whatever. But I'm wondering if there was like any other significant or historical events going on around that time that could maybe explain it. I'm going to post a picture of how big Route 44 is. Again, if you want to look it up on your own, go for it. But if you want to partake in the conversation, see all the stuff that we're talking about during the podcast or whatever, just head over to podbean.com. At the very top, there's a Discord link. Discord is just an app that we use to record and have conversations, do all this stuff. It's a free app. You can click that Discord hyperlink. It'll bring you to another page where you just type in why you want to join the channel. I'll approve it. You can come in here. You can see all the stuff that we're posting. I'm posting it in there, and it's a pretty good stretch of road. So again, I'm wondering, now this is the kind of issue that I have with things like this, and Lily and I had talked about this on the Dabani episode, where people have reported seeing these ghostly things on this route. Now, for 38 miles, that is a huge stretch. Where exactly did this car, like that's saying like at any point you could see this ghostly figure. And the whole Dabani thing was that the highway that girl was like last seen, or the event took place, it was a huge stretch of highway where like you could see ghosts at any point on that thing. What I'm getting at is a lot of stuff can happen on that stretch of highway. So to say like that highway is haunted, or the Route 44 Phantom, so you're telling me that Phantom is, now again, we're talking about the paranormal universe and we're talking about all that, so like who knows what is and what is not possible. What I'm getting at is it's a big stretch of highway. That ghost would have to be traveling up and down that thing super fucking fast. But it said that near a wooded area. It would be again fun to kind of, 38 miles is not that much, but still, it's just one of those things where I feel like when people tag an entire highway or a route to being haunted, I don't know if I'm not gonna say I don't believe it, but it's just one of those things where it's like, we're talking 38 miles. At any point you could see a ghost. I mean, I guess you could spend all night driving up and down that thing, seeing if you could, catch a ghost. That actually would be kind of fun to like just you'd be burning a lot of gas. Maybe go on bicycles. That would be kind of fun to, bike. Because then you'd have to pedal pretty fucking fast if the ghost kind of just appeared out of nowhere. Think about that. You have your little cocoon of safety with your car. But if you're biking, you're outside, you're in the melt. I bet there's people. The biking has become huge now. I feel like, yeah, in the U.S. lately. I don't know why. I'm sure a lot of cars travel down that, so it may not be the safest to bike down it. But what I'm getting at is if you wanted another kind of level of spookiness to trying to find the phantom, just walk it. Just walk it, run it, bike it, be out there with it, you know? Just get out of your car. Get out of the safety net, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, we will continue. We have the Black-Eyed Children. Let's read about it. The legend of the Black-Eyed Children is a relatively recent addition to the American folklore, okay, but has quickly gained a reputation for being one of the creepiest. All right, please tell me why. The story involves encounters with children who have completely black eyes and exhibit strange, often menacing behavior. These children are usually reported to appear at people's homes or in isolated areas asking for help or trying to gain entry. Witnesses describe feeling an overwhelming sense of dread and unease during these encounters. The children often speak in monotone voice and insist on being let inside. But the presence is deeply unsettling. The origins of the legend are unclear, but the stories have proliferated on the internet, adding to their mystique and fear factor. Reports of the Black-Eyed Children have come from various states, including Texas and Oregon. Each account adding to the growing legend. Some believe these children are extraterrestrial beings or demonic entities, while others think they are part of a government experiment. The mystery surrounding the origins only add to the fear and fascination they inspire. So this one's kind of like a broad stroke where it's like you're saying Black-Eyed Children, and this could be anywhere. To me, this is like saying like there's ghosts in the United States. Well, yeah, no shit. So this one is just like, all right, well, yeah, I don't know about this one. This one to me, I feel like shouldn't be even on the list. It is creepy. I feel like this kind of is any place in the world. I feel like you could have something like this. Now, again, if you're listening in a different part of the world than the U.S., please let me know if there's anything kind of on the same lines like this. Now, my first thought when I read this was the movie The Fourth Kind, where there's those owls and they're always like staring into the houses and they're weird, right? There's just a weirdness about them. If you've never seen The Fourth Kind, definitely go watch it. Great movie. Anyways, so it just reminds me, I don't know why, of this where it's like, okay, it's supposed to be an owl, but is it really an owl? And it's like, okay, these are supposed to be kids, but are they really kids? Watch the movie and tell me if I'm right or wrong on that, but to me, I feel like folklore with this one, I don't know about this. I feel like this really isn't. I feel like you can consider this to be like an American folklore legend. Again, it is relatively new, but it doesn't give a date as far as what it is. I do like the part where it says a government experiment. That always adds a layer of then the conspiracy. There is always those talks about like, you know, the elites getting kids and everything like that. And are they doing these rituals to them and making them Black-Eyed Children, and have they escaped? But to me, I don't know if that fits the profile, because I feel like if that were the case where it was like a government experiment and it actually was a real child, there wouldn't be that unsettling. I feel like they'd be pretty distraught and you would want to help them in this sort of sense. I don't know. Let's do a quick segue. Black-Eyed Children and the government. Oh, people aren't going to be watching this computer. Unethical human experiments in the United States. Let's read this. Numerous experiments which were performed on human test subjects in the United States in the past are now considered to have been unethical because they were performed without the knowledge or informed consent of the test subjects. Such tests have been performed throughout American history, but have become significantly less frequent with the advent and adaptation of various safeguard efforts. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if there's surgical experiments throughout the 1840s. J. Sims, who is often referred to as the father of gynecology, performed a surgical experiment on infants, enslaved African women and girls as young as 13 without anesthesia to treat conditions. Okay, that's pretty morbid. We're looking for, okay, so from the 1955 to 1960s, Sonoma State Hospital in Northern California. I'm butchering that. Served as a permanent drop-off location for mentally disabled children diagnosed with cerebral palsy or lesser disorders. The children subsequently underwent painful experiments without adult consent. Many were given spinal taps, for which they received no direct benefit. Reporters of 60 Minutes learned that in these 5 years, the brain of every child with cerebral palsy who died at that hospital was removed and studied without parental consent. Jeez. Okay, from 1963 to 1974, as part of a project Shipboard Hazard and Defense, the U.S. Army performed tests which involved spraying several U.S. ships with various biological and chemical warfare agents. While thousands of U.S. military personnel were on board the ships, the personnel were not notified of the tests and were not given any protective clothing. Chemical tests on the U.S. Military personnel included the nerve gas VX and sarin, toxic chemicals such as zinc sulfide and sulfur dioxide, and variant biological agents. I'm not even going to try to pronounce those. In 1966, the U.S. Army released another one into the tunnels of the New York City subsystem as part of a field experiment called A Study of the Vulnerability of Subway Passengers in New York City to Convert Attack with Biological Agents. The Chicago subway system was also subject to similar experiments by the Army. That's just crazy. And okay, and again, I feel like this is why like things like that, or like connecting like the black-eyed children with like government experiments, is because you have instances where like the government is doing, or like, you know, military is doing something like this without people's consent. I think that's why there's that connection right there. But I do think there are things in place now that don't allow that to happen. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't fucking know. Maybe do your own research. Anyways, maybe that's why they're, you know, correlating the two with this. Let's see here. Getting back to these stories, the Lady in White of Union Cemetery. Union Cemetery in eastern Connecticut is reputed to be one of the most haunted cemeteries in the United States, largely due to the legend of the Lady in White. This ghostly figure is said to appear in a flowing white gown, often seen wandering among the tombstones or along nearby Route 59. Again, these damn routes. Witnesses have reported seeing her translucent from gliding through the cemetery, sometimes accompanied by a chilling, otherworldly glow. The Lady in White is believed to be the spirit of a woman who met a tragic end. Though her exact identity remains a mystery, some accounts suggest she was a victim of a car accident, while others believe she was murdered and buried in the cemetery. Her restless spirit is said to haunt the area, searching for justice or peace. Paranormal investigators have captured numerous photos and videos showing the Lady in White, making Union Cemetery a hotspot for ghost hunters. Local residents often share their own encounters, adding to the cemetery's eerie reputation. Oh my gosh. You know what I'm trying to say. The Lady in White continues to be a symbol of the unexplained, drawing both skeptics and believers to the haunted grounds. I feel like there's a lot of, like, La Llorona, I believe is her name. They made a movie about it. Well, it was okay, but I feel like everyone has this Lady in White story, kind of this legend. So is this really just an American thing? I mean, it could be specific to this area. I mean, if there's reports of the same one, I guess I would count it. So Route 59. Let's look at how big Route 59, Connecticut. Connecticut, Route 59 is a north-south state highway running from Bridgeport to Monroe with historical significance, ongoing maintenance projects. What? 1.3 miles. Apparently, Route 59 in Connecticut is only 1.3 miles. So again, okay, so for this one could be maybe a little bit more believable. Okay, well, hold on one second. Connecticut, Route 59. Okay, hold on. I'm getting to... one is saying 12.5 miles. Okay, I'm going to go with that one. I don't know why. Just give me a straight answer. All right, well, we're going to go with either it's 12 miles or it's 1 mile. Okay, but it's less than the Route 44, which was 38. Again, just one of these highway mystery type things. For this one specifically, it's a lot less. So I feel like with like that iconic car crash in 1955 or whatever along this spot, you can kind of pinpoint it a little bit better. Where like the highways that are huge and it's like, oh, this is a haunted highway. Well, that whole highway runs the length of the United States. So I feel like this one, Route 59, is a little bit more like, okay, you can kind of pinpoint if there was a car crash with a woman inside, yada yada. So for that one, I could possibly believe this one. Yeah, that was all right. That was okay. Okay, the Goatman. The Goatman is a creature said to haunt various regions of the United States, with the most famous sighting occurring in Maryland and Texas. Described to be half man, half goat hybrid, the Goatman is often associated with rural areas and old bridges, according to legends, and the creature wields an axe and preys on unsuspected travelers, particularly teenagers. Oh, okay, so this one, I will post this in our Instagram feed and even in our Discord. I saw a video of it looked like a werewolf, right? And it was like, it had the graininess to it. And someone was like, oh, hey, look, this is proof that there's like this creature exists. The way that it was walking was so unnatural. It had to have been AI. There's no way that it wasn't. And this is my huge thing with AI. It's getting harder and harder to tell what is true and what isn't true. I feel like there should be some sort of way that you can, like, if it is a legit photo, if there's a way to actually put, like, yes, like, I wish there would be some sort of coding or some sort of like something on the like thing that you're watching that's like, yes, this is 100%. Like, I wish there was a system that could depict if something was real or not. It's getting harder and harder, long story short. But we will continue to read on. In Maryland, the Goatman is said to inhabit the area around Governor's Bridge in Prince George's County. The creature is often blamed for mysterious disappearances and strange noises in the woods. In Texas, the Goatman is associated with the old Alton Bridge, also known as the Goatman's Bridge, where numerous sightings and eerie encounters have been reported. Folklore suggests that the Goatman was once a scientist who conducted experiment on goats, only to have one go horribly wrong, transforming him into the creature. Legend has been passed down through generations, with each retelling adding new details and embellishments. The Goatman remains a figure of fear and fascination, captivating those who hear his story. This one is kind of interesting, with the fact that the story goes that it was a scientist who conducted experiments on ghosts. Like, to me, what is this dude doing? Is he like chopping up goats and trying to like sew them together with other creatures? And then he just kind of was like, you know what? I want to be a goat now. And he cut himself in half and then attached a goat thing. Because if this has been passed down through generations, it's not like, okay, he made a transforming machine. I mean, maybe, but to me, I feel like when we say scientist, the first thing I think about, especially like through generations, okay, this was back in the day, I'm thinking about a scientist who's sewing shit together. So I think that's kind of what it would be. But again, it's even says in here that adding new details and embellishments to the story. So I think it's kind of whatever you make of it, right? All right, continuing on, the Bunny Man is an urban legend that originated in Fairfax County, Virginia in the 1970s. The story involves a man dressed in a bunny costume who reportedly attacks people with an axe. The legend began with a series of bizarre incidents, including sightings of a man in a furry suit vandalizing property and threatening individuals near the overpass, now commonly referred to as Bunnyman Bridge. According to the legend, the Bunnyman is the ghost of an escaped convict who hides in the woods and emerges to terrorize locals. Over the years, the story has evolved with various versions, adding new details and embellishments, kind of like the last one. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the Bunnyman legend has persisted, becoming a popular tale among locals and the ghost hunters. I want to say that within the last 10 years or so, they have made a movie about this. Could be wrong. I think maybe it's loosely based on this. I want to say it's The Hunt? Easter Bunny Massacre? I don't think that's the one I'm thinking of. I in my mind, I know exactly what... I can see the cover of the movie in my mind. And I think what's going on in the movie is like they're all at a dinner and like they're all being hunted or something like that by a bunch of people in these different masks, different animals. Again, it may not be specifically just a bunny, but there's Donnie Darko. That's definitely not what I'm thinking of. I'm not sure. I will, if I find it, I will post what I'm talking about, or in the next episode, if I can remember, I'll bring it up. But I feel like they had made a movie on the same lines as this. Oh, okay. Let's see here. We have time for one more, and I want to talk about this one specifically because I feel like this one is so creepy. Even now, this one is just, it gets to me. I don't know why. Maybe because like what it is, there's just like the plainness of it. All right, I'll shut the fuck up. Okay, it's Slender Man, right? Slender Man is a modern urban legend that originated on the internet in 2009, created as a Photoshop contest on the Something Awful forums. The Slender Man is depicted as a tall, faceless figure in a black suit with tentacle-like appendages. The character quickly gained popularity, spawning countless stories, videos, and even a real-life criminal case. I think that might be why this one just kind of hits home, and we'll end with this one, is because it went from something where it was just, again, it was just a picture contest, right? And then it totally evolved and like it just snowballed. It was a creepypasta, and then they made a video game. I think it's called 8 Pages or 5 Pages. It doesn't matter. I think there's like 2 or 3. There's countless video games, scary video games on this, and it is a very weird entity. The movie sucks ass. I wouldn't want to waste your time watching the movie. If you want to, go for it. But it just, I don't know. It didn't hit home. If they would have made it more like Blair Witch-esque, I would have really liked it. But there's the real life criminal case. I'll pull it up right now so we can talk a little bit about it. Okay, so the Slender Man criminal case involves the 2014 stabbing of Peyton Isabel Lunther, who was 12 years old at the time. The two accomplices, Annalise E. Weir and Morgan E. Ginser, lured the girl into the wooded area and attempted to kill her to appease the fictional character Slender Man. The girl survived the attack with 19 stab wounds. Both the two girls were tried as adults in 2017 and were found not guilty by reasons of insanity. They were committed to the mental institution with Weir being released in 2021. And so both girls have been released. The case has inspired various media, including documentary Beware the Slender Man and movie Mercy Black. That is crazy. That I did not know. Wow. Okay, so both of them. It's crazy. Both of them were released. I really would like to watch the documentary and everything on this, or maybe do a specific episode. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe we'll finish up December with the Slender Man case, criminal case. I think that'd be a good one, because I remember seeing this in the news. It was hot there for a minute. I remember seeing things in 2014, and then again a couple years later. I feel like every kind of like couple of years or year or two, like you would see something new about this. It would be interesting to see like if the two girls really do understand. I mean, obviously they were released, so they have to be like, okay, yeah, I did something not good, and that was completely false and completely made up, and it was not a real story. And I don't know. It would just be really interesting to hear from the two girls that tried to kill this girl, and then also that girl, like what her thoughts are on the two individuals being released. I could only imagine, because oh my gosh, that would be crazy. I don't know. Like it would be weird to see if she's like, yep, I want to just keep moving on from this. I don't want to think about it, like, because that's a huge traumatic event. So I completely understand that. Or if she's just pissed off and is like, hell no, I might have to do some research into this. I'm really curious now. I'll see what the other co-hosts think and see if they want to do the Slender Man criminal case on this, because I'm sure there's over 10 years of material that we could kind of look into, because you got the we could talk a little bit about the Slender. Don't worry about the ins and outs of the whole fucking show. I'll figure it the fuck out. But anyways, that's why this one is so creepy to me, is because of this. According to the legend, the Slender Man stalks and abducts children, often luring them into the woods. The character's eerie appearance and mysterious motives have made it popular subject to horror fiction and internet memes. Despite being a fictional creation, the Slender Man has had a significant impact on popular culture and has even been linked to violent incidences, which we had talked about. The Slender Man legend highlights the power of the internet to create and spread modern folklore. It serves as a testament to how contemporary technology can give rise to new myths and capture the collective imagination. The Slender Man's enduring presence is popular culture and underscores our fascination with the unknown and the unsettling, proving that even the digital age, urban legends can thrive and evolve. I do think that piece is kind of cool, where it's not just the Revolutionary War or something where it's like a story from a town. Like, this started on the internet. That I think that piece is very, very cool to kind of see how it evolved and everything. Not cool that criminal stuff has happened by any means. That part freaking sucks. Cool part is just how, again, a folklore legend can start from the internet and kind of evolve. But we will end on that note. I've been rambling on about these American folklore. If you want to check any of this stuff out, you can go to countryadventures.net. 13 most unsettling tales from the American folklore that are still terrifying today. I am your host, Stevenson Longbotom. Again, we are only going to be releasing 2 episodes this month, so keep your eyes peeled for the second one. May or may not be the Slender Man. I kind of want it to be to give you kind of a Christmas kind of spook, but we will see what the other co-hosts think, and maybe we might squeeze one more in there. We'll see how things are going. But just remember that old saying that we have here: we don't want stuff that's normal. We want stuff that's effing weird.